Yurong became the target of public criticism. With Yi Changfeng in the lead, the group of elders fiercely attacked, and all sorts of unpleasant words came out. Yuan Shan and the rest were so angry that their faces turned red. A pleased smile appeared on Yi Changfeng's face as he said, "Elder Yu, I admire your grace. Although she is still young and has a high cultivation, she is not suitable to be the young sect master of the Xianyu sect. She is still too young. For example, she's too young. Moreover, as you have seen, the secret world's true essence is chaotic, and the people outside could not even withstand it, much less those inside. Since she insists on not realizing her mistake, then we should let her know the price for her stubbornness." Yuan Shan said, "Elder Yi, no matter what, she is still the sect master's daughter. Just as she entered, she wanted to close Secret World, so she died without a doubt." Yi Changfeng's expression sank, and said, "If the Secret World is not closed, once it breaks, the entire Xianyu sect will be in trouble. Yuan Shan, I'll ask you this. If something happens to the Xianyu sect, can you afford to take responsibility?" Yuan Shan said, "The collapse of a secret world is just a matter of the secret world being devoured. It won't affect this side." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Yi Changfeng said in an overbearing tone, "I'm asking you, do you dare to guarantee it? Do you want to bet the lives of thousands of people in the Xianyu sect?" The collapse of Secret World was not a small matter. If something unexpected happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yuan Shan was speechless. Elder Yi slightly said, 2 hours. If Yurong does not come out, then close the Secret World's entrance, and no one is allowed to open it. If the Secret World is about to collapse within this hour, close it immediately. Where is the disciples of the elite hall?" The Xianyu Four Swords immediately shouted and stood out. Yi Changfeng said, "Guard the entrance of Secret World. Close it immediately when the time is right." "Yes, sir." Chapter 2282, Billions of Years of Zombies. Chapter 2282, Billions of Years of Zombies. This was pushing a person to death. Yi Changfeng never thought that Yurong would be so irrational. To think that a disciple who had just entered the sect would enter Secret World, whose true essence was in such a mess, this was undoubtedly courting death. He had taken care of Long Fei, and had also taken care of Yurong, who was going against him. In his eyes, this was a double kill. Yi Changfeng was secretly happy. Yurong. Ha ha. Xianyu sect. He he. Yi Changfeng laughed complacently in his heart. Inside the secret world, Yurong was flying atop the black scale carving, surrounded by the howling wind. His primeval essence was like a blade. Blowing on her body was extremely painful, but she did not care about these things. Actually, she herself did not know why she insisted on entering the secret world. She was very clear in her heart that the chances of Long Fei surviving this kind of situation was very slim, but she still resolutely entered inside. Yurong. "Oh, Yurong, are you stupid? Is it worth it for that kid?" Yurong asked himself. She had always been calm. Even in the face of the super powerhouse Zhao Wuji, it was the same. But today, she was extremely abnormal, and her heart was filled with worry for Long Fei. "Wow!" The black scale carving cried out. "Master, the flow of primeval essence is too strong. This secret world is out of balance. It won't be long before it breaks. We've already flown in a circle, and there's no sign of that boy. He might have already been swallowed by the turbulent flows." The black scale carving said anxiously, "Secret World's collapse was too dangerous. It was about to collapse." Yurong frowned. "Who is destroying this secret world?" The black scale carving said, "Now is not the time to think about this. We should leave quickly, otherwise we will all die inside." Yurong was not calm again, as he said, "No, let's go around once more." He did not go out, and is definitely inside. with his tenacious mental strength, he will definitely not die so easily. She believed that Long Fei was still alive. The black scale carving's steel wings turned slightly and once again flew and circled around. Yurong pondered. Father said before, there's no way this secret world would collapse. Unless. Suddenly, Yurong raised his gaze, looked at the crumbling great hall in the distance, and his eyes flashed a trace of bright light as he quickly shouted, "Little Black, you go out first. If I don't go out, you can leave Xian Yu's sect." Finished, Yurong moved his sword and flew forward. The black scale carving also lost its balance under the impact of her powerful force, as its huge body flew towards the exit. Master, with regards to the Xian Yu's secret territory, not many people knew what kind of existence it was. However, Lu Xian was the only one who understood clearly. Just that, he did not explain it to Yurong clearly. He only told her that this secret world would not collapse, and that once it did, there would be a problem in the hall. What was hidden in the hall? Yurong had never been inside before, so with her cultivation, she could only enter the hall and not the steps. However, now that the secret world was out of balance and his true essence was in disarray, there were not that many restrictions. Flew into the hall after passing through the turbulence. This place. As Yurong looked at everything in the great hall, her brows immediately furrowed, because all of this was extremely familiar to her, as if it was something from the Ming clan. When she saw the 8 trigrams and runes gate on the dark stone in the main hall, her heart trembled. Dark stone. Here. Could it be the tomb of a certain powerhouse? The abyss rock could only appear in this tomb. Yurong looked at the runes on the dark stone. She was the same as Long Fei. She couldn't understand any of them either. Who opened the abyssal stone? Could it be? Is it him? Long Fei's figure appeared in Yurong's mind. He's also a member of the Ming clan? Impossible. Elder Ming said that the Ming clan is currently incredibly weak and that there are very few people left alive in the Ming clan. How could he possibly be from the Ming clan? Yurong was suspicious. Long Fei didn't have any characteristics of a Ming clan. Otherwise, she would have seen through it long ago. Even if she didn't see it, Elder Ming should have been able to see it. Boom, boom. At this time, the 8 trigrams gate on the abyssal rock constantly emitted blood-red light. Streaks of scarlet light shot out in all directions, and the sound of impact could be heard from within. Holy **T. This guy is too fierce. Go. Aren't you a dark unicorn? Let's go. Hurry up and go up. Long Fei retreated a few steps back as blood spurted out from the wounds on his body. On the other side, the dark unicorn was also in a bit of a sorry state. Several green scales had fallen off its body. Its eyes had a cold light. Its anger burst forth. At the other end, it was a large dumpling that had green fur all over its body and a golden glow beneath the green fur. Zombie! This fellow was no ordinary zombie. There were no weaknesses in his entire body. In addition, his cultivation technique was sharp and his cultivation was ridiculously strong. It could be said that he had completely crushed them. What kind of zombie was this? The green hair wore a golden body. Furthermore, how old is this tomb? Judging from the battle between God's tribe and him last time, this zombie should be at least 1 trillion years old. 1 trillion-year-old zombie. The heck? What the heck? The dark unicorn roared. Its body sank and suddenly rushed forward. At the same time, Long Fei's eyes were locked tight, not letting go of even a single detail. Boom! The 2 monsters collided against each other. Golden and azure light shot out in all directions. The zombie only took half a step back to block the dark unicorn. Its green eyes flashed with a golden light. Long Fei's pupils shook, and he immediately said, Qilin, quickly retreat. The dark unicorn also reacted, but time slowed down by half a minute. The green hair on its entire body seemed to have a life of its own as it crazily entangled the dark unicorn, trapping the huge dark unicorn within a few seconds. Roar! Roar! The dark unicorn released waves of roars, which became lower and lower. The green-haired, golden-bodied zombie seemed to be devouring the profound chi of the dark unicorn. F***CK. What kind of Qilin is this? I despise you. Long Fei saw that the dark unicorn was being tied up and was feeling very unsatisfied. Wasn't the Qilin's water a little too much? While he was speaking, the green-haired, golden-bodied zombie raised its eyes and fiercely stared at Long Fei. Buzz. A powerful pressure came crushing down. Long Fei's body instantly became immobilized. His entire body felt as though it was bound. It was extremely uncomfortable. Pressure. King hate coercion the most. Long Fei clenched his teeth. The sky sword roared with his hand and slashed wildly with his sword just in time to extinguish the pressure of the green-haired, golden-bodied zombie. However, at this moment, the green-haired, golden-bodied zombie suddenly disappeared. The cold was pressing. Long Fei raised his gaze. Damn. The zombie landed right on top of his head. Bastard, you're courting death. A shout. Yorong's figure was like a phantom, quickly blocking in front of Long Fei. Long Fei was startled, then immediately became excited while looking at Yorong. My wife saved me. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2283. Mad God's Energy. Activate. Chapter 2283. Mad God's Energy. Activate. Long Fei did not expect Yorong to actually appear at such a time. This woman was very strong. His first impression was that he was strong. Seeing her blocking the way, Long Fei was moved in his heart and said, "At least you have a conscience." Yorong said with an ice-cold expression, "Enough of your rubbish. Hurry up and leave." She looked nervous. This was because the aura emitted by this golden-green zombie was just too terrifying. She wasn't sure if she could block it or not. Plus the injuries on her body. Long Fei laughed bitterly and said, "Leave? I wanted to, but look at the exit." At the exit, a faint green glow surrounded the area. It was like a door of time. This door of time could only be entered from the outside, but it could not be exited, according to Long Fei's understanding. Unless he could kill this green-haired zombie, they would never be able to exit through this door. Yorong's brows tightened. "How did you get in?" "There's more." "What's that?" Yorong looked at the dark unicorn that was wrapped by the zombie's green fur. He had never seen this kind of demon beast before. Long Fei said with a look of disdain, "He's just a scum. What dark unicorn?" If you can't even deal with a zombie, then what about a Qilin? Your sister's Qilin. Even its face has been completely thrown away by you. What kind of existence was a Qilin? The divine beast. However, you can't even deal with a zombie? This is called a Qilin? Or was it the Ming clan's dark unicorn? Long Fei looked down on the dark unicorn from the bottom of his heart. However, although the dark unicorn was entangled by the green-haired zombie, he was not injured. The zombie tried to suck out his blood, but the green scales on his body were extremely tough, so the green-haired zombie could do nothing to stop him. Yorong frowned. Why would there be a Qilin here? Roar! The green-haired zombie released a roar, and a gold light shot out from the green hair. Long Fei immediately said, "He's angry, angry. Wife, hurry up. Kill it." Long Fei was unable to hold on. He was physically and mentally exhausted and could not find this fellow's weakness. With Yorong here, she would naturally go up first. Yorong rolled his eyes at Long Fei and said, "Who's your wife?" If you dare to spout nonsense again, I'll tear your mouth apart. *CK. Have you forgotten what you promised me? Didn't you say that you would be my woman if I win the match? If you aren't my wife, then what are you? Long Fei said. Yorong's eyes locked onto the hair-crazy green-haired zombie and said, Did I say that? How come I don't remember? Who can testify for you? If no one has testified, then it would be you slandering the young sect master. Do you know what the crime is? Cut the tongue. Long Fei immediately scolded. Fuck, I knew it. You can't trust a woman's words. It's better to believe a woman's words than to believe that there's a ghost in this world. Long Fei felt that he had been tricked. He felt displeased. How would he know that Yorong had used him to gamble and win against Chongfeng, but now he was admitting defeat? You stay aside. Yorong was too lazy to waste time with him. With a move of her body, her figure transformed. The true essence on her body released out, a burst of powerful strength striking over. In that instant, Yorong clenched his right hand tightly. Buzz, buzz. The Xianyu underworld wheel appeared in his hands. 2.5 months. The nether wheel released a dense, profound energy. This was the treasure of the Xianyu sect. It could be said to be Xianyu sect's #1 treasure. Heaven-ranked grade 9 divine weapon. When the Xianyu underworld wheel appeared in Yorong's hands, her entire body became elegant and graceful. With a set of light blue clothes, she looked just like the skin of Yorong's Frost Origins hands. Beautiful and moving, especially that chest. Very fierce. Long Fei looked at her in a daze. This woman is really pretty. I must get her. I finally crossed over to this place. What do I want to do? Of course, it's the most beautiful woman to sleep with, stepping on the strongest enemy. His thoughts were very ordinary. He was also an ordinary person, and what he thought was also the thoughts of ordinary people. A beautiful woman, with more than money, to step on the strongest opponent. What he wanted was to be invincible under the heavens. Yorong rushed forward, the Xianyu underworld wheel in his hands releasing an explosive buzzing sound, and a crescent moon-shaped blade that could be seen with the naked eye shot towards the golden-haired zombie from all directions. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, it crazily slashed down. Long Fei's eyes were tightly shut as he focused on every single detail. Everything in the world has a weakness. Even if this guy is extremely powerful, he definitely has a weakness. Roar. The zombie let out a furious roar, and the sound wave immediately shattered the energy released from the Xianyu underworld wheel. Long Fei immediately shouted, Attack his eyes. Kirin, you stall him and slow him down. Yorong did not think too much about it. The Xianyu underworld wheel moved. In an instant, it turned into a nether wheel bow. He pulled with 2 fingers. A streak of profound nether energy, the color of Xuanabai's body, formed into an arrow. An arrow pierced through the air and shot out, locking on to the eyes of the green-haired zombie. Long Fei was shocked. Damn, this Xianyu underworld wheel is really powerful. It can actually be used as a bow and arrow. Kirin, hold him. Don't let him move. Long Fei said loudly. The dark unicorn did the same. The powerful netherworld, a Dumbra flower, burst forth and shook the green-furred, golden-bodied zombie. Bam! The arrow fell down, accurately hitting the zombie's eye. But at that moment, the green-haired zombie's eyes emitted a golden light. The Netherism arrow shattered into pieces. A string of red letters appeared above his head. Mitz, no way, Long Fei immediately said. This guy's defense is too strong. We must first break its golden body. After trying a few times, as long as the green-haired zombie released a golden light, No matter how strong the energy was, it would be blocked. A powerful cultivation technique. Long Fei didn't know. However, if the golden body could not be broken, he would not die. Yorong said solemnly, "How do I break it?" Long Fei also frowned. "How do I break it?" "Hurry up. I can't hold on any longer." The dark unicorn let out a roar. Its entire body was wrapped up by the green hair. If this dragged on, it would really not be able to hold on. Yorong attacked once again. No matter how sharp her attack was, it was useless. With a flash of golden light, his defense was able to defy the heavens. Moreover, Yorong was pushed back, his face turning pale white. Long Fei kept on thinking of a way in his mind, and then he asked, "Dark Unicorn, do you trust me? Dark Unicorn, at this time, what else do we have to believe? You and I are both people of the Ming clan, so I will naturally believe you." Yorong looked at Long Fei, and his heart trembled. "He's someone from the Ming clan?" Long Fei said, "All right, give me your body." And then Long Fei looked at the dazed Yorong and said, "Protect my body well." Buzz. Possession parasitism. Open. When Long Fei's idea entered the dark unicorn's body, at this time, Long Fei shouted loudly in his heart, "Arrogant God energy value, activate." Chapter 2284. This thing is a bit awesome. Chapter 2284. This thing is a bit awesome whether it was a divine armor or a powerful cultivation technique. There was nothing in this world that could not be broken. Long Fei couldn't think of a way either. So all of them decided to stake everything on this one bet. He himself did not know what the result would be. All in all, fuck. However, strangely, when Long Fei's idea entered the dark unicorn's sea of consciousness, it did not encounter any obstructions, as if it had a perfect compatibility with it. Instantly, he controlled the dark unicorn's body. Long Fei was startled. "What's going on?" The dark unicorn was also stunned. "What are you trying to do?" He himself was shocked as well. His body was being controlled in an instant. This was something that had never happened before. Long Fei said, "Destroy him. Wild God energy, activate." The energy values which had accumulated a pair of moons instantly burst forth. In that instant, the dark unicorn's body immediately emitted a blood-red light and instantly entered the blood fury state. Roar. A roar escaped his throat. Next, the green hair wrapping around the Qilin quickly broke. The green-haired, golden-bodied zombie slightly shook its body. The golden light on its body flickered as its strength increased. Yorong looked at the motionless Long Fei and asked, "Why did the Qilin suddenly become stronger?" At this time, he was completely deaf to everything Yorong said on the idea. Yorong also noticed Long Fei's abnormality and couldn't help but to take a few steps closer to his body. F***CK, you're just a zombie, yet you became a monster. The dark unicorn broke free from its restraints and stared at the zombie, the profound nether energy in its body surging out crazily with tons and tons of power. Long Fei had never felt such a strong power before. Such a powerful force. How can this guy not be a zombie's opponent? He's obviously very strong. Is he putting on an act? Long Fei had some doubts in his heart. The power that the dark unicorn's body possessed was extremely strong. That power, just like the ocean. If this kind of power was released, it could be said that it would be an easy task to crush the green-haired, golden-bodied zombies. However, why can't Dark Unicorn win? Acting? Doesn't look like it. Long Fei slightly sensed the Dark Unicorn's body and saw the seal on its abdomen. This was the power of the seal. So Long Fei's heart tightened. So that's how it is. This guy's strength has always been restricted by the seal, and this guy doesn't even know it himself. Didn't I say it? How can a Qilin be so weak? Long Fei was relieved. Although the dark unicorn had a seal within them, once Long Fei's idea entered, the power of the seal would not be able to withstand the power of the raging god. Tons and tons of Netherism energy gushed out. The entire space was filled with nether energy, incomparably ferocious. Yurong was shocked. What a strong power! The green-furred, golden-bodied zombie also sensed it. Its eyes glowed with a bright light as it heavily pounced forward. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, the sound of something tearing through the air rang out. Long Fei smirked. You scum, now it's my turn. Without waiting for the green-haired zombie to fall, the Qilin moved its body and flew like lightning. It opened its big mouth and bit onto the green-haired zombie. A golden light burst out. A powerful defense was unleashed. Let's see whether your defense is stronger or my strength is stronger. Crack! Golden light burst forth, and his defense was heaven-defying. The green-haired zombie's arm was bitten off, and a dark green liquid gushed out crazily. Suddenly, a scarlet number appeared above the green-haired zombie's head. 293-7322 F *CK. Long Fei became excited. Ha ha ha. Come on, now that you have crushed me just now, it's your turn to kill me. This damage was too great. With one of his arms broken, the green-haired zombie screamed in pain, but he did not give up, the golden light emitting from his body reaching its peak. His entire body became like a scorching sun. Golden light flashed. Boss. Big boss. Ha ha. Long Fei's eyes flashed. Explode for me. With a dash, the shadow of the dark unicorn occupied the entire space. It opened its mouth wide and bit straight on the green-haired zombie's head. Arrogant. Just give Lousy another one to be arrogant. Crack. Exerting force. Dark green liquid shot out from the dark unicorn's mouth. The head bit off, and half of the body fell to the ground. The health bar of the zombie also fell to the bottom. Dead. Fuck, you don't know how to fight. He died in 2 moves. Long Fei had a look of despise, but his heart tightened. It's going to explode. It's going to explode. Hee hee. It was also at this time Long Fei's idea moved, returning to its original body. Yurong, who was at the side, was completely dumbfounded. Not only Yurong, the dark unicorn was also stunned. The 2 moves just now were like a dream it was hard to recover from. As for Long Fei, he held the sky sword tightly with both of his hands and thought to himself, Come, let's have a crazy big fight. Ding! Congratulations, player. Long Fei for defeating green-haired golden body zombie. Rewards: 10,000 experience points, 100,000 true chi points, 20 arrogant god energy value points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining golden holy body. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the golden body zombie core. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The 10 million experience points raised Long Fei by 6 levels consecutively, reaching the 8th level of the blood refinement realm. There was only one word to describe the feeling: awesome. However, Long Fei was displeased. Golden holy body and an orb. Are there only these 2 things? Holy *T. Aren't they dropping too little? Let me see what this golden holy body is. Item: golden holy body grade, divine level talent, divine level potential, divine level description, possesses unparalleled potential, talent, and the speed of cultivation of the user will be increased by several folds. Description 2, possesses a passive skill, golden defense. Description 3, the user who is fused with a golden blood vein will have their defense strengthened. Divine level sacred body. It doesn't look that bad. However, I have the system. What use is there for this? This holy body was completely useless to Long Fei, because he is the owner of the system. No matter how strong your talent is or how much potential you have, do you have the talent to be the owner of the system? No. Converted? Long Fei looked at the exchange rate and saw a whole million points. When he wanted to confirm the exchange rate, Long Fei hesitated again. With such a high exchange point, it's enough to prove that it's a good item. Keep it for now. It might be useful in the future. He didn't want it, but someone would need it. Gold Body Zombie Dan. What is this? Long Fei started looking through it again, and his eyes stared blankly. Fuck, this thing. Awesome. Looking at the attributes of the Golden Body Zombie core, Long Fei was a little dumbfounded. Chapter 2285. Die Trapped Inside. Chapter 2285. Die Trapped Inside. Infinite True Chi. Never run out. And this orb actually has a golden body effect. This is an invincible holy artifact. Long Fei was dumbstruck. What did infinite true chi mean? Infinite blue. He no longer had to worry about not having any more true chi-s. Moreover, to a certain extent, Long Fei could still trigger the golden body effect. Golden body state. Invincible defense. It was flawless. Ha ha ha. I'm rich, rich. Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear. Without saying a word, he immediately shouted, Fuse! Ding! Fusion successful. Immediately, floating above Long Fei's pubes, was the zombie core. The core emitted a strange power, and looking at it through the system, the value of the true chi was continuously increasing. True chi value plus 10 points. True chi value plus 10 points. True chi value plus 10 points. Long Fei only stopped when his true chi was full. Ha ha ha. This thing is too powerful. Long Fei was ecstatic. In the future, I can do whatever I want. Looking at Long Fei's gleeful and vulgar smile, Yurong stared at Long Fei as if he was staring at a monster. Just a few minutes ago, he had clearly felt the change in aura on Long Fei's body. What is this? He had broken through. Furthermore, his aura had changed from escalate blood 2 stage to the 8th grade of blood refining. How could this be possible in just a few minutes? What was even more inconceivable was that all of the wounds on Long Fei's body automatically healed, becoming as good as new without even the slightest bit of a scar. Yurong did not understand. Are you a human? Long Fei regained his composure and said, I am a god. The dark unicorn also walked up. What did you do to me just now? Why did I have to be able to unleash such a strong power? He really wanted to know. Long Fei looked at the shocked expression of the dark unicorn and thought to himself, as expected, I didn't know that he had a seal in his body. Long Fei said, What do you mean by explosive power? That's my power, all right? How is it? Am I handsome? Powerful and domineering, right? Dark Unicorn's eyes were filled with worship. He had never felt the power that exploded out just now. It was too powerful, as if he was wandering in a sea of power. Although that feeling wasn't from him, it was still very excited. Dark Unicorn said, Too powerful, too cool. Long Fei laughed out loud and said, That's true, ha ha ha. Yurong said, Impossible. How could your power be in his body? Huh. Long Fei stopped smiling. It was easy to fool a dark unicorn, but his brain was obviously not strong enough to fool Yurong. He said seriously, All right, I'll tell you then. There's a seal in your body. The power that exploded out just now was indeed yours. However, after I added on, how much do you know about the seal in your body? Long Fei did not know much about the seal. However, looking at the seal in the dark unicorn's body, it should not be simple. It was a very complicated look. The dark unicorn said with a stupefied expression, I have the seal in my body. How is it that I don't know anything about it? Can you solve it? Longface shook his head and said, I don't know for now, but I will think of a way. The dark unicorn's eyes flickered with a face full of emotion and said, Really? Are you really going to help me unlock the seal? Longfei laughed. At this moment, the system suddenly sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Longfei for triggering the quest. Help Dark Unicorn unlock the seal. Task level. S time of mission. 10 years task reward. Dark Unicorn loyalty. 100%. Experience 1 million. True chi value 10,000. Special reward of 1 piece. Special hint. Accepting the SSS reward for completing the quest has something to do with the Ming clan mark. Suddenly, the task was triggered. Now, even if Longfei did not want to help, he had to. Longfei said, Longfei, have always been one to keep my promises. Don't worry. I will take responsibility for your matters. Woo, woo, woo. Woo, woo, woo. The dark unicorn was so touched that she started to cry and said, Thank you, thank you. From now on, you are my master. You tell me to head east. I will absolutely not go west. And when you call me a base, I will immediately wash clean. Bah! Longfei immediately interrupted him and said, Don't be disgusting. He knew in his heart that although the dark unicorn said that, it did not have a high level of loyalty. As long as he completed the mission, his loyalty level would reach 100%. However, with this guy as the war pet's mount, it would definitely be very eye-catching. At this time, Yurong looked at Longfei with his shiny black eyes and asked, What about me? When are you going to help me? Her voice was so coquettish that it made one's bones tingle. Longfei felt goosebumps all over his body. He looked at Yurong and asked, What are you planning to do? I'm telling you, don't act recklessly. Yurong took a step forward, her face filled with charm, and said, I don't want to do anything. I just want to know who you are. Where are you from? And the godly pill you took out last time, what exactly is that? Her body was only a few tens of centimeters away from Longfei, and he could smell the scent of her body, but he didn't dare to think too much about it now, because he could clearly feel the murderous intent. A woman's change of heart was always faster than flipping a book. Although Yurong's face was filled with charm, she would turn into the expression of an ice queen in less than a second. Longfei wasn't her opponent at the moment. He could also tell that Yurong was much stronger than he had imagined during his fight with the green-haired zombie. Chapter 2286, Zhao Family's Dog. Chapter 2286. Zhao Family's Dog. The chaotic flow of the secret world's true essence was much more stable, but it still persisted. Yi Changfeng did not know what was happening inside, but he knew he definitely could not let Yurong out, and even more so, would not let Longfei, who destroyed his Fang Tiandao seal, come out. Close it immediately. Yi Changfeng bellowed. Xiao Dai immediately blocked it and said, Great Elder, wait a little longer. They will come out soon. The big guy also went up to block it. The thin monkey clenched his teeth and blocked it, saying, Now that the spatial turbulence has subsided and the secret world has returned to normal, why did he close the exit? Yuan Shan also said, Senior Brother Yin, why not wait a little longer? The black scale carving that was thrown out by Yurong also cried out and blocked the way. Both Longfei and Yurong were very important, especially Xiao Dai. She blocked the entrance of Secret World with her eyes filled with determination. Yi Changfeng's eyes were filled with anger. Men, pull them apart. If you resist, suppress them with force. As soon as he finished, a few elders walked out, heading straight for Xiao Dai and the others. Yi Changfeng said, I can't let Xianyu sect take the risk. I can't risk the lives of thousands of disciples just for the two of them. I know you guys are worried, but how can I not be worried? Even if the sect master was here, he would still approve of my actions. He spoke with dignity and a majestic sense of righteousness. His heart, however, was dark. With a wail, the black scale carving's wings flapped, raising gusts of wind. Level 5 flying war pet. Its cultivation was not low. A few elders were blocked and could not help but look at Yi Changfeng. Yi Changfeng's eyes also turned sinister as he shouted, "Take him down!" Immediately, the elders suddenly flew up into the air, their powerful energies crushing down towards the black scale carving. The black scale carving let out a loud roar, and the feathers on its wings formed into steel feathers. It shot out like an arrow with an explosive force. Attack it, no matter who the other party was, he would still backfire. The 100 steel feathers flew out in unison, causing the few elders' expressions to change. Yi Changfeng's eyes turned sinister. "How dare you? A mere beast dares to resist. You're courting death." With that said, Yi Changfeng's figure disappeared. His palm turned into a claw and pierced through the steel feathers to instantly land on top of the black scale carving's head. Xiao Dai shouted, "Little Black, watch out." Wow. He smacked the black scale carving's head with his palm. The black scale carving continuously, explosively retreated, and fresh blood came out of its mouth. It was in incomparable pain. Even so, Yi Changfeng did not let go either. Not waiting for the black scale carving to stand still, Yi Changfeng's body moved again, as he kicked out consecutively, one heavy and the other heavy, at the chest of the black scale carving. Bang, bang, bang. Every kick carried the strength of a elixir. Streaks of golden light shot out. Puff, puff. Wow. Blood sprayed wildly. Other realms were fine, but he was still not a match for the Golden Protector level, as a level 5 war pet. Not to mention, Yi Changfeng used viciousness. Every move brought killing intent. The gigantic black scale carving was sent flying hundreds of meters away, with its chest caved in and its wings broken. All of its internal organs were injured by the shock. Now, even if it was saved, it would not be able to reach the 5th stage of cultivation. Moreover, it was likely that he would never be able to break through again in his entire life. Humph! Yi Changfeng coldly glanced at the black scale carving and heavily snorted, "You overestimate yourself." Now that the black scale carving had been crippled, there was no longer a need for him to do anything. The entire Xianyu sect controlled the pill pavilion, so it was useless even if Yurong came out now. If he did not give the pills to the black scale carving, it would be impossible to recover from the black scale carving's injuries. He would die soon. The black scale carving was Yurong's war pet. This could be considered as taking revenge for the destruction of his Fong Tiandao seal. Yi Changfeng turned around coldly, stared at Xiao Dai, and said, "Xiao Dai, don't think that I wouldn't dare to touch you just because your father is an elder. You'd better get out of my way." It was extremely cold. Xiao Dai's eyes shook and said, "I won't let you lock Sister Yi and Along inside. They definitely aren't dead, and Secret World won't collapse either. You kept saying the fate of the Xianyu sect, but do you care? If you care, you won't stop supplying pills. If you cared about it, you wouldn't have made things difficult for the Sister Yi. Sister Yi cares about the lives of every disciple in the Xianyu sect. It was Sister Yi who made everyone evacuate in time when the great demon beast invaded. Seeing that there were still disciples in the secret world who did not come out, Sister Yi entered the secret world to save them without even thinking, not to mention that he is along. Even if there is a disciple in the sect, she would go in to save them. What about you? What did you do? You will only oppose her. You will only do it for yourself, letting Sister Yi marry someone she doesn't like. Xiao Dai suddenly erupted. He gathered up his courage. Yi Chongfeng's expression changed. His eyes turned sinister as he walked in front of Xiao Dai and slapped him. Pa! Xiao Dai didn't have time to dodge at all. The 5 finger marks on his face quickly turned red and swollen. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. That was awesome. He can speak human language. Oh my God. Even a level 9 demon beast can't speak human language. He actually can speak human language. Was it an illusion? The ox could speak, and many people were shocked. Zhao Yiqian was even more dumbstruck because at this time, the great water ox was staring straight at him. His heart turned cold, and he felt a kind of fear, as if it was being controlled by Qing Niu. Yi Chongfeng knew from the beginning that the cyan cow could speak, so he was not shocked. A beast is still a beast after all. Even if they can speak, they are still animals. Yi Chongfeng stared at the water buffalo, the fury on his body not diminishing by even a little. Xiao Dai said anxiously, "Dainiu, why are you here? Where's my father? Is my father here yet?" Now, as long as her father was here, Yi Chongfeng wouldn't dare to act rashly. Although she was not clear about her father's cultivation level, Yi Chongfeng had never dared to move against him. And it was also because he was afraid of her father. The green ox didn't say anything. Gui Qingshan was currently not in the Xianyu sect. He went off to do something else. Moreover, he never thought that something would happen to the Xianyu secret territory. He thought that since Yi Yurong was in the sect, even if it was Zhao Yiqian, he would still have scruples if he acted presumptuously. Furthermore, Long Fei was still by his side, so he too went out. Xiao Dai looked at him, but did not say a word. His eyes grew cold as he asked, "Is father not here?" Azure Ox immediately said, "The old man will be here soon." "Humph! Are you trying to scare me?" "Just a mere Gui Qingshan. What can he do?" Yi Chongfeng said coldly, "Even if he can stop me, can he block the entire Xianyu sect? I can forgive you for your heinous crime of publicly insulting me, but you blocked the closing of the secret world, bringing danger to the Xianyu sect. You wanted to destroy the Xianyu sect in one fell swoop, so you are making the entire sect your enemy. I suspect that you are someone from the magic tribe. Someone come. Kill them all." Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, "Let's go out first." At this moment, Long Fei did not know about what happened in Secret World, and even more so did not know that a Yurong risked her life to enter Secret World to save him. Even if it was the Zhenwu realm-s, they would not dare to rashly enter, but Yi Yurong did not think too much about it. Yi Yurong looked at the big door, then looked at Long Fei, and said, "Are you lying to me?" "Huh." Long Fei said, "Why would I lie to you?" Yi Yurong said, "You tricked me out, and then you went in by yourself. Behind that door, were there any divine weapons, or holy plies?" She suspected that Long Fei knew what was hidden inside. The reason he didn't go in was because he didn't want to bring her along. Long Fei said, "You truly have a lot of ideas. Right, you are right, there are piles of divine weapons inside, and there are even various holy ply. You should quickly go in. Before you go in again, I want to ask you if you have any last words or later matters to settle. Rest assured, I will do my best to help you after you enter." Yi Yurong said, "You're courting death." Long Fei stared at her and said, "The ones who are courting death are you. The monsters we meet in the first floor are all so powerful, you are simply no match for them. You don't even know how you died." Yi Yurong immediately said, "Seems like this is not just the first floor. You must know where this is. Speak." His eyes turned cold. It immediately became cold and gloomy. 2 eyes were staring at Long Fei, as though they wanted to swallow him whole. Holy **T. Long Fei muttered, "It's impossible to guard against." And then Long Fei explained to Yurong in a simple manner. Yurong's heart flipped, and he was extremely shocked, but he maintained his composure on the surface. He pretended to be a new kid and asked, "You said this is the necropolis of the Netherworm?" Long Fei said, "I didn't say it, he did. I don't think this is the tomb of the Ming clan's #1 martial immortal. If I were to become the Ming clan's #1 martial immortal, I would definitely not let an evil being like the zombie guard the grave. No matter what, I would need to get one of those Hades. Whether it was at the beginning or now. This large tomb didn't even give Long Fei the feeling of being the tomb of the #1 war god in Ming clan. It looked more like the tomb of some evil creature. Otherwise, it would also not give birth to an evil creature like the green-furred, golden-bodied zombie. However, this can only be proved by going deeper. Yurong said, "What King Yen Oxhead and Horseface and the black and white impermanence? I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe the Lord Minglong has his own thoughts. You are not the #1 martial immortal of the Ming clan. You don't understand. He was once #1 on the Grand Mist ranking." In Yurong's eyes, her voice carried all kinds of reverence, admiration, and adoration. Long Fei did not pay any attention to him and grinned. All right, you understand. You know what's going on. You can leave now. He's lying underneath right now. Wait until you obtain his inheritance of power. You will be the #1 war god of the Ming clan." Finished. Long Fei could not be bothered as he walked towards the exit. He was currently at the 8th grade of blood refinement, and with the infinite true qi, he should be able to deal with qi refining cultivators. The Xian Yu Four Swords wanted to kill him. Now, it was his turn to take revenge. F***CK. It's not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. I will never take revenge overnight. The Xian Yu Four Swords, right? I want you to become the 4 devils of Mystery Moon. Long Fei was very angry in his heart. He really nearly died in their hands at that time. It's upgraded now. He should be able to deal with the 4 of them. Yurong looked at the door that led to the next floor and muttered, "Is this really the Lord Minglong's tomb?" Lord Minglong, Ming clan's #1 war god. If the #1 person on the Grand Mist ranking can obtain his inheritance, then the Ming clan will have a chance to rise up once again. He pondered for a moment. Yurong anxiously followed. "Kid, you won't sneak in by yourself, will you?" "What the F***CK? I still want to live for a few more years." "When are you going in?" "Not yet." "Can you bring me in?" "No way." "What did you say?" "Yes, I said no problem." "That's more like it." Long Fei walked out of the hall and saw the mess inside the secret world. His heart tensed up. What happened? Yurong rolled her eyes at him and said, "Isn't it all because of you?" Long Fei asked, "What about Xiao Dai and the rest?" Yurong said, "They are outside but now." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei then ran out in a hurry. "Thank you for your support." Chapter 2289. Long Fei arrived. Chapter 2289. Long Fei arrived. What are you waiting for? Attack. Yi Changfeng shouted. The Xianyu four swords quickly rushed forward, its long sword aimed straight for Xiao Dai. I want to see who dares. Bastard! Do you want to go to heaven? The qi on Yi Changfeng's body burst forth. A strong pressure pressed on him, with his palms moving, his afterimage superimposed. Without waiting for the green ox to charge, his palm crushed down like a huge rock. Bam! The palm struck down. The azure ox did not dodge. Instead, it blocked the attack. Moo, letting out a painful scream. The green ox body staggered backwards, but it was still tenaciously protecting Xiao Dai. Xiao Dai had an extraordinary significance to him. They had walked out of the wilderness together and grown up together. The two of them were like family. Seeing that Qingniu was injured, Xiao Dai also asked, "De Shuaniu, are you all right?" Green Ox steadied his body and said, "It's okay. I won't let anyone bully you." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Yi Changfeng made his move again and said, "You have to have the qualifications to protect others." Boom! Yet another palm strike descended. Qing Niu's body sank as blood gushed out from his mouth. His entire body was in incomparable pain, and he could no longer hold on as his body began to tremble uncontrollably. Bam! After holding on for a few seconds, the green ox's body fell to the ground. It breathed heavily and shouted, "My boss will not let you go. Just you wait." Yi Changfeng snorted, "Humph." He did not look at Qingniu anymore as he stared at Xiao Dai and said, "I want to see who dares to stand up for you now." Large Chunk Dizziness Dead, Thin Monkey, was unconscious. The black scale carving was heavily injured and could not even stand up. It's the same with water buffaloes these days. At this moment, no one stood up for Xiao Dai, and no one dared to stand up for him either. What she said was too excessive, adding her temper. Even Yuan Shan didn't know how to explain himself. Many people around looked at Xiao Dai and started to sneer. "Serves you right. Offending the great elder in public, isn't that courting death?" "Yeah, it's all self-inflicted. I guess she's a moron. I'm afraid I can't take it. I must be tired of living." Ha ha ha. Many people began to discuss the matter, and they all had cold expressions, as though they were watching a play. Zhao Yiqian sneered coldly and said, "Great elder, don't be too seriously injured. She is a woman that I have my eyes on. If you don't accompany me for a few nights, I won't let her die so easily." Ha ha ha. "Slut, this is the result of offending me." Ha ha ha. To Zhao Yiqian, today was just too great. There was a high chance that Long Fei, who was trapped in the secret world, was dead. The green ox that scared him to the point of wetting his pants was also crippled. Now, this Xiao Dai, who was looking more and more lively, would become a plaything under his crotch tonight. All this excited him too much. He was very satisfied with Yi Changfeng as well. He was extremely dissatisfied with his previous two failures, and now, to be able to come back with revenge in one fell swoop was one word: great. Yi Changfeng smiled slightly and said, "Xianyu Four Swords, did you hear that?" The Xianyu Four Swords sneered. "Understood." Yi Changfeng said, "Do it." Xiao Dai's brows tightened. He glanced at the secret world's gate behind him, and his heart trembled, muttering to himself, "Along, I'm sorry I didn't protect you properly. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have pulled you into the Xianyu sect back then. I'll now—" She blamed herself. She had once swore to be responsible to Long Fei. However, there were several times where it was Long Fei who had saved her, and she wanted to do something for Long Fei, trying to delay him as much as possible. She couldn't drag it on any longer. However, she would drag it out no matter what. Even if he died, he wouldn't let a playboy prince like Zhao Yiqian sully his body. Immediately, Xiao Dai's eyes turned sinister, and he entered his battle state. The Xian Yu Four Sword sneered and said, "Little junior sister, I advise you to obediently surrender. Otherwise, don't blame us for ruthlessly destroying you." Ha ha ha. The four of them laughed at the same time. Yu Wanshan could not bear to see this any longer, and said, "Senior brother Yin, wait for young sect master to come out first. Otherwise, we'll just wait for clan elder Gui to return. She is, after all, an elder's daughter, you know." Yi Chongfeng did not give any face at all and shouted loudly, "Did you hear what she said just now? If it was you, how could you not be angry?" And then Yi Chongfeng shouted again, "Do it!" His voice was filled with rage. The Xian Yu Four Swords also did not delay any further and started to attack Xiao Dai at the same time. At this moment, a voice came out from the Xian Yu secret territory. "Who dares?" Before he finished speaking, Yi Chongfeng's face secretly shook. He was too familiar with this voice. Long Fei's voice. Xiao Dai's expression was also overjoyed. Yu Wanshan's eyes flashed with a bright light and said, "Good kid, you're still alive." Yi Chongfeng's pupils anxiously shrank. At this time, he couldn't care less and immediately ordered, "Attack, kill." At the same time, his figure was like lightning as he quickly rushed out. He wanted to seal the secret world's exit. This brat was still alive, which meant that Yurong could also be alive. If they knew that he had injured the black scale carving, they would definitely not let him off lightly. One doesn't do two things. If he didn't do it, then he had to do it to the limit. As long as he sealed the exit of the secret world, Long Fei and Yurong would not be able to come out. With his status as the great elder of the Pill Pavilion and the deterrence of the Zhao family, controlling the Xian Yu sect would not be too difficult. Moreover, as long as a few days passed, the army garrisoned in the southern palace could enter the Xian Yu sect. Then the situation would be set, and even if Yi Luxian came out of seclusion, it would be useless. Yi Chongfeng made a prompt decision. Zhao Yiqian also shouted, "Close the secret world's exit. Don't let that dog out." At the critical moment, Xiao Dai turned and rushed out. The Xian Yu Four Swords also knew that they definitely could not let Xiao Dai stop the Great Elder at this time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, sword intent crushed down. Xiao Dai was instantly trapped in a dangerous situation. Her entire body was surrounded by the attacks of the Xian Yu Four Swords. As long as she took half a step forward, she would immediately be injured. She didn't care. Shua! A sword pierced through his chest. A sword pierced through his arm. Blood gushed out. Zhao Yiqian shouted, "You are seeking death. Didn't I tell you not to hurt her? You don't want to live anymore." At this moment, Yu Wanshan's body slightly moved and said faintly, "Elder Yi, everyone is alive. Why did you still close the secret world?" Yi Chongfeng didn't care that much, as he sent a huge palm strike straight at Yu Wanshan. "Mind your own business." Bam! Yu Wanshan didn't think that Yi Chongfeng would attack him. For a moment, he was caught off guard and continuously retreated in order to dodge the attack. However, in this split second, Yi Chongfeng landed at the exit of Secret World. The corner of his mouth revealed a pleased cold smile and said with a sinister smile, "Die inside." Ha ha ha. Chapter 290, One Sword Break. Chapter 290, One Sword Break. Ha ha ha. As long as he gently pulled the door latch, the mechanism would fall, and the secret world would be shut down. Even if they wanted to restart the activation, several elders would need to activate their true essence at the same time. Yi Chongfeng knew the disciples of Xian Yu sect had to rely on his medicinal pellets. The same goes for the elders. Controlling the pills was equivalent to controlling the Ming men of these people, without the Elders Guild foolishly going against him. With the secret world closed, he had plenty of time to clean up the elders that went against him. Everything was decided at this moment. Seeing the voice that was getting closer and closer to him from the secret world, Yi Changfeng laughed complacently. "You dog, stay inside and die." Ha ha ha. He pulled the trigger with one hand. The door slammed. Xiao Dai shouted loudly. A long swoosh swoosh. She took another step forward, and her body was once again struck by a sword. Zhao Yiqian jumped up and scolded loudly. "Are you looking to die? How can you become my plaything after getting injured like this?" Looking at Long Fei, who was inside the secret world, Zhao Yiqian laughed excitedly again. "Ha! You dog, dead trash. Are you trying to act cocky with me again? Ha ha ha. Are you powerful? Are you that awesome? But can you play against Lousy? Tonight, Lousy will ride this little bitch under my crotch. Ha ha. Too excited. All the grudges will be avenged." Yu Wanshan rushed forward again, but it was too late. The vault door sank and could no longer be pulled back. Yi Changfeng also laughed complacently. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The Xianyu Four Swords also became proud of itself. Many of the elders revealed a smile. Even if some of them didn't want to smile, they would still force themselves to smile at this time because they understood very well in their hearts. From now on, the Xianyu sect leaders would probably switch. Yi Changfeng's eyes lit up as he thought happily in his heart. Even if I don't become a teacher, to be able to become the sect master of a Xianyu sect, isn't that a beautiful thing? Ha ha ha. With the Zhao family's support, even if Yi Luxian comes out of seclusion, what can he do to me? Ha ha ha. Yi Changfeng was incomparably pleased with himself and had forgotten himself. Just as he was feeling complacent, in the middle of secret world, an iron sword suddenly flew out. The sword flashed like lightning. In addition, the sky sword seemed to have sensed danger as strange lights emitted out from it. However, very slightly no one noticed it, not even Long Fei himself. In this world, there was only one person who could sense the strange light coming from Sky Sword. Long Zhanting, Dragon Abyss Dungeon. Long Zhanting looked at the dark sky with both eyes and became excited. The first level of the Sky Sword's forbidden technique is about to be broken. It's only been a few days. Ha ha! The heavens have blessed our race. God bless my son. When Yi Changfeng saw a sword flying out, he didn't mind. Seeing Long Fei getting closer and closer, he waved his hand and laughed complacently. Brat, just die inside. Ha ha ha. What could a sword do? It could block the gate. It was impossible. The door was made of an extraordinary material comparable to a heaven-ranked divine weapon. Even holy artifact would not be able to shatter it in an instant. A fully grown, damaged iron sword. What the hell use was that? The gate was used to close the secret world. When the gate was designed, they already knew that it would be destroyed while the secret world was collapsing. Once it was closed, Long Fei would not be able to break it. Yurong won't be able to break it. However, was the door made of heaven-step materials awesome? Rumble! The Sky Sword pierced the gate, or to be more accurate, it was not a stab because the Sky Sword did not touch the gate at all, but the strange energy released by the Sky Sword was like a laser cannon. A huge force suddenly exploded. Rumble! Rumble! A huge explosion shook the skies and shook the earth, spreading out for hundreds of thousands of kilometers. All the demon beasts in the entire Xianyu mountain range were crawling on the ground and shivering. And the gate, he could not hold on for even a second and instantly shattered into pieces. The strong force was like a flood as it rushed out, and Yi Changfeng still had a complacent smile on his face. At this moment, the smile froze. At this moment, he did not know how to defend against the rusted Sky Sword. He retreated quickly as the power of the Golden Protector level formed a complete defense as he roared continuously. Ah, it couldn't be stopped. It couldn't be stopped. The sword was locked between his eyebrows. As he got closer, his defenses were useless. This strike contained the anger in Long Fei's heart. What is a sky sword? It was something that Long Zhanting had purposely revealed at ancient holy battlefield, and he had already thought of Long Fei's calamity from the very beginning. At that time, he didn't dare to guarantee that Long Fei would not be able to hold on. However, there was always an additional reason for the sky sword to be by his side. The sky sword followed Long Fei and reincarnated. Even though it was struck by the seal, however, it was very clear about its mission. Long Fei was angry. The sky was angry. This time, Long Fei's anger was much greater than usual, and even the elders of the 8 generations of their ancestors were furious. Yi Changfeng had repeatedly made things difficult for him and bullied him. This time, she had even more severely injured the people around him. Long Fei could not tolerate it. Who wants to die? Long Fei shouted heavily. Shua! Sword Chi flashed, and one of the disciples' bodies was split into 2. His body was split into 2 and flew out, blood splashing all over Long Fei's body. His eyes were dyed with blood, and Long Fei's expression became even more sinister. However, he didn't even blink. Another flat slash. Who wants to die? Another heavy shout. Shua! Another person's body was split into 2. Fresh blood splashed all over Long Fei's body, and the sky sword was also covered in fresh blood. Long Fei's eyes were filled with blood, but he did not blink as he swung his sword down. Who the hell is looking for death? Boom! The sword landed. The third person was the same. His body split into 2. Blood spurted out wildly, with Long Fei at the center. Fresh blood flowed all over the ground, and his internal organs flowed all over the floor. The scene was extremely bloody and brutal, causing the faces of everyone around to turn pale in fright. They had seen the dead. They had seen the killing. However, he had never seen Long Fei like this. It was too bloody, too brutal. Moreover, it seemed like Long Fei's 3 ordinary strikes were not fancy at all, but it was chopped out in a split second. It didn't look fast, but in reality, it was shockingly fast. Ding, ding, ding. The system sounded out 3 times. Long Fei still ignored him. His blood-stained eyes suddenly stared as he roared out loudly. Now, who's courting death? He was as brutal as a demon. It was extremely bloodthirsty. The surrounding hundreds of people were all crushed by Long Fei's imposing aura. Many young disciples began to tremble with fear. They were afraid. Fear rose from the depths of his bones. Zhao Yiqian's face was pale white under his head. He did not dare to look up at Long Fei. Yi Changfeng's expression also changed. His fists clenched tightly, his expression extremely ugly as he said solemnly, "Useless trash." At the same time, he looked at Long Fei, and his heart was secretly shocked. He broke through again. His cultivation has already reached the 8th grade of blood refining in just a short day. Just what exactly happened for him to break through to the 6th level in a row? This kid must not be allowed to live. Long Fei's growth speed was just too fast. It was so fast that no one could imagine how it would be possible for him to lose control over it in the future if he were to be allowed to go on with it. He had to die. Yi Changfeng's sleeve sank as he flipped his palm in his sleeve, secretly channeling his power. His robe fluttered without wind as he took a step forward and heavily shouted, "Shamelessly murdering a fellow disciple, you shall be punished with death. Even if you are not Magic Tribe, you are still inextricably linked to him." "Where is the law enforcement hall?" An elder said. "Grand Elder, the people from the law enforcement hall have yet to arrive." In that previous exchange, Long Fei had used all of his strength, but he had not. The difference in levels was too great. In the game, Even if you were in a coquettish position, no matter how well prepared you were, you still wouldn't be a match for someone with a strong skill. That was what Long Fei deeply felt when that move collided with his. He couldn't hold on for much longer. However, just at this moment, the sky sword seemed to have broken through some kind of taboo. The anger in Long Fei's heart seemed to explode as a result. One move of Slay. It directly broke the joints of Yi Changfeng's arms and sent him flying at the same time. Long Fei had never felt this kind of power before. It was also somewhat familiar. In short, that moment was too fast, so Long Fei didn't have the time to feel it. Don't come near me. Let me tell you, I am an elder of the Pill Pavilion, the great clan elder of the Xianyu sect. If you dare to touch a single hair on my head, the thousands of disciples in the Xianyu sect will not forgive you. Yi Changfeng's body trembled sinisterly, his eyes swaying a little. Long Fei smirked and said, "Why would I touch a single hair on your head? What I want is your dog life." Step by step, he walked forward. To Yi Changfeng, it was like a death god carrying a scythe on his shoulder. Yi Changfeng said heavily, "Brat, have you gone mad? Kill me? Have you thought about the consequences? Without me, Xianyu sect is dead for sure. You better understand this point." Although he exaggerated it a little, however, it was not possible for the Xianyu sect to lack Yi Changfeng because he was the highest level alchemy master. Without his pellets, it would be difficult for the Xianyu sect to circulate its energy. As time passed, problems would appear in the pills a disciple cultivated. This way, the Xianyu sect would truly be finished. Yu Wanshan frowned and anxiously said, Stop." Yi Changfeng immediately said, "Did you hear that? I told you to stop." Immediately, several elders stepped forward and said, "Brat, don't act recklessly. Did you hear that? This is not the place for you to behave atrociously. I order you to stop." At the same time, a few elders guarded Yi Changfeng, and a dozen or so disciples of the elite hall formed a protective circle, because they knew it very well. If Yi Changfeng died, their pills would break. Then how would they cultivate in the future? Yi Changfeng cannot die. He was concerned about the fate of the Xianyu sect. Xiao Dai loathed Yi Changfeng in her heart, but at this time she was also thinking for the Xianyu sect. So she said, Don't act recklessly. Let's wait for young sect master to come out first." Since Yi Changfeng's life was small, the Xianyu sect's operation was more important. However, all these were just words for Long Fei. What does it have to do with him? I'm not in a good mood and want to kill. After provoking him time and time again, today he even hurt his brother and beat up his sister. "Junior brother, calm down. I'm warning you, don't come over. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." Several elite disciples warned Long Fei. Seeing this scene, Yi Changfeng was secretly pleased in his heart. At the same time, the fear in his heart disappeared, and he regained his calm as he shouted heavily, "Brat, you think you can kill me? Don't you know who I am? This is the Xianyu sect, the great clan elder who killed the Xianyu sect. He is an enemy of the entire Xianyu sect. Humph! I will stand here and not move. I want to see how much courage you have." Yi Changfeng was secretly pleased with himself. Xianyu sect could not leave him. Without the pills he refined, the disciples of Xianyu sect and the elders would have no problem cultivating it. He had already used up a month's worth of pills, and many of the elders and disciples had already used up all of their pills. Now that he had reached this critical juncture, it was all the more important. No one in the Xianyu sect could do it, except for him. Yu Wanshan said solemnly, "Senior Brother Yin, can you speak less?" "Humph!" Yi Changfeng coldly snorted and said, "Am I wrong?" At this moment, dozens of law enforcement disciples rushed over. "Law enforcement hall is here." Yi Changfeng grinned. Let's see how you continue being so arrogant now. Where is the law enforcement hall? Capture this dog that slaughtered his own fellow sect members. And then the disciples of the law enforcement hall quickly surrounded Long Fei. However, at this time, a person stood at the exit of Secret World. I want to see who dares to touch him. Buzz, 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 buzz. The nether wheel began to revolve. The turning of the underworld wheel stopped abruptly as the sky sword blocked Long Fei's attack directly. Yurong was even more shocked in his heart. This sword, it's not normal. Under normal circumstances, any normal weapon would be shattered the moment it came into contact with a Xianyu underworld wheel. Even the Fang Tiandao seal that Yi Changfeng was so proud of would be shattered as well. However, the broken sword in Long Fei's hand that was covered in rust could actually block it. In addition, Yi Yurong could feel such a strong impact of energy, and it was as if an enormous dragon was roaring. She could not withstand that kind of shock. And then Yi Yurong's idea sunk and sent a sound transmission. I know you hate him, but he cannot die and cannot die temporarily. If he wants to die, Xianyu sect will also be finished. As the young sect master, she had to consider the overall situation. The current Xianyu sect, the Zhao family, and the Zhou family all entered their residence in a baffled manner. She knew clearly in her heart that the Zhao and Zhou family had their eyes on something in the Xianyu sect. She was also investigating this. When she entered the special space below the main hall and found out that it was the necropolis, she suspected that the Zhao and Zhou families were after the Abyss Dragon's body. At this critical juncture, if there was any problem with the Xianyu sect, it could be said that the Zhao and Zhou families would invade without restraint. She had to look at the big picture. Yi Changfeng could not die. Long Fei's long sword trembled. His body fiercely shot out, landing on the ground. He did not send a sound transmission, and shouted, "I do not care. Whoever touches my brother will die. Don't even mention what kind of great elder he is. Even if he's the god of heaven, he would still do the same. This is the principle of Long Fei." Yurong's brows tightened and said, "You only know your own principles. What about the Xianyu sect? I am the young sect master, and I will enforce the law impartially. I will definitely give you justice." "No way," Long Fei shouted. "I do not need any fairness. I want his life." Yi Changfeng shouted, "Are you even worthy? Young sect master. He has to kill all of our fellow sect members. Even this great elder must do his job. If you don't imprison him today, Yi Changfeng, will leave the Xianyu sect." The voice shouted. Many people in the audience were shocked. Yi Changfeng's eyes moved slightly. At the same time, several elders stood up at the same time and said, "Young sect master, this child has committed many evil deeds, and his methods are brutal. If you do not punish him, I will also leave Xianyu sect. I will also leave the sect. I will also leave the sect." All of a sudden, a few elders stood beside Yi Changfeng. Chapter 2294. Competitions in which losers are guaranteed to lose. Chapter 2294. Competitions in which losers are guaranteed to lose. He must be killed. If he did not kill, Long Fei would never be able to take it, lying to his brother. However, he knew that Yurong was in a difficult situation. She did not make a choice. Alchemy? He didn't understand it too well. However, the alchemy knowledge in his mind was above this world. So long as he could display it without any mistakes, it was definitely possible. Compete with me in alchemy? You still want to bet your life? Yi Changfeng's eyes shook. He stared at Long Fei and laughed out loud. Ha ha! It was also at this time. Many people laughed. Ha ha ha! Competing with the great clan elders, alchemy? Is there something wrong with your brain? Brat, take a good look at your piss. Take a look at yourself and see just what kind of virtue you have. Your alchemy? You know how to write the word alchemy? If he knows alchemy, then this daddy can still go to heaven. What a joke. Alchemy? What was needed was not only talent, but the accumulation of experience over a long period of time. Cultivation of an alchemy master was simply too difficult. This was also the reason why the sects with thousands of people in Xian Yu sect did not have many alchemy masters, which was why Yi Changfeng's status was so lofty. A disciple's alchemy that wasn't even 20 years old, he didn't even have the qualifications to become an apprentice apothecary. Yurong let out a low growl as well, and said, "Don't be reckless. Do you understand alchemy?" Long Fei said very calmly, "I don't really understand, but I can't stand a person like Yi Changfeng who likes to act cool. Do you really think you are so strong just by concocting a few pills? He can control the sect and do whatever he wants. He can injure my brother, hit my sister, and your alchemy is amazing. This daddy will compete with yours, and if you step on anyone, I will jump to your strongest place. And this daddy will definitely trample you to death." Long Fei said, fiercely. Yi Changfeng's eyes turned sinister, and he roared, "Good." Then without waiting for him to finish speaking, Yi Yurong interrupted him and said, "He doesn't know alchemy." Yi Changfeng said straightforwardly, "Young sect master, it's useless for you to defend him. The life wager, alchemy, was brought up by him. Everyone heard it. You destroyed my Fang Tiandao seal, I'll endure it. Break my arm, I'll endure it. However, to humiliate my Tao of alchemy and look down on my alchemy technique, I cannot tolerate that. Kid, this is what you said yourself. Alchemy, life wager." Yi Yurong looked at Long Fei, signaling him not to be impulsive. However, Long Fei took a step forward and said, "You did not hear wrongly, it was my words. Alchemy is a wager, and I will bet my alchemy on your life." Yi Yurong's heart sank. Xiao Dai wanted to advise him, but he had no way to. Yuan Shan also let out a long sigh. "You're too young, you're overflowing and throwing away your life. You don't even know alchemy and want to compete with a 6th-stage alchemy master in alchemy? I really don't know what you're thinking." Sigh. There was no saving him. Many people snickered. "Idiot! Brainless! Trash! You want to gamble your life against the great clan elders? Alchemy? He's really courting death." Ha ha ha. I've seen people who overestimate their own abilities, but I've never seen anyone who overestimates their own abilities. Just when everyone was laughing in ridicule, Long Fei said again, "I broke your arm just now and gave you 3 days to recover. I don't want you to find excuses if you lose at that time." Cluck, cluck. Yi Changfeng angrily gritted his teeth. It was as if he was someone who didn't understand alchemy and was laughed at by others. "All right," Yi Changfeng said. "We will meet each other on the pill platform in 3 days." Long Fei said, "Remember, if there's anything else, just say it quickly." "You." Yi Changfeng gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter, and said, "Brat, just wait to die?" Humph. He waved his sleeve and left. Zhao Yiqian immediately followed, and the elders who threatened to leave the sect also quickly followed. Not long later, not many people around them left. Yuan Shan looked at Long Fei and said sincerely, "You, sigh." Then he shook his head and slowly walked away with his hands behind his back. If we were to compete with an ordinary disciple in alchemy, it wouldn't be much, but Long Fei was directly like the strongest alchemy master in Xian Yu sect, betting his life on this. He was simply courting death. Yi Yurong looked at Long Fei with a complicated expression. At this moment, Long Fei was furious in his heart, but he had been very calm this whole time. he said to Yi Yurong while looking at him. Don't thank me. I am just unhappy with him. And he must die. In Long Fei's mind, Yi Changfeng was already on the death list. Yi Yurong said, You don't even know alchemy. How are you going to compete with Yi Changfeng? Do you know what will happen if you lose? Do you think you're finished just because you're dead? Not just that. Yi Changfeng might even take advantage of this situation and directly force her to abdicate. Yi Yurong was very clear about the situation today in his heart. 3 days later, the moment Yi Changfeng wins, he would definitely make all kinds of rude requests. Plus, he had the support of the Zhao family. The Xianyu sect would probably become part of the Zhao family. Long Fei replied, I won't die because I won't lose. He won't lose. Yi Yurong said, Then I ask you, what will you use to win? What rank did you cultivate your alchemy technique to? What rank pill can you refine? How many spirit grass do you know? You are too reckless. Yi Yurong also felt a bit of heartache. She was relying too much on the pill pavilion for this. Yi Changfeng swallowed every single step, and the current pill pavilion was already able to control the entire Xianyu sect. This was her mistake. Xiao Dai said weakly. Sister Yi, Along doesn't even know alchemy. How about? Let's leave Xianyu sect. Yi Yurong's eyes lit up. Long Fei looked at the 4 injured Xiao Dai, and his heart tightened. Clenching his fists tightly, he said in his heart, I will definitely take his life. Seeing Long Fei's resolute expression, Yi Yurong swallowed back all his words. What happened? The big-sized man shook his head and woke up slightly. When he saw Long Fei, he immediately said, Boss, you came out. He became excited. Just as he climbed back up, his vital energy and blood roiled in his chest, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. His body became unsteady. Long Fei's heart, once again, hurt. Yi Yurong took out the War Pet Space's ring and retrieved the black scale carving back into the War Pet Space. He looked at Long Fei and said faintly, During these 3 days, the great gates to the Xianyu sect will be open day and night. It would be best to leave from the direction of the Xianbei mountain. Finished. Yi Yurong left in large strides. If she didn't leave now, she wouldn't be able to control herself. She had used too many true qis today, and her abdomen injury had started acting up again. He was on the verge of collapsing. Moreover, she understood Long Fei's personality. He would never run away. She didn't want Long Fei to lose. In these 3 days, she did her best to help, because the man entered her heart. Thank you for your support. As for 4th rank cultivation techniques, the total number of 5th rank cultivation technique manuals was less than 10. A martial skill was extremely important to a martial arts training cultivator. The importance of the technique was not weaker than the pills, but the pills were consumables, and the technique itself was not. Thus, in the Xianyu sect's martial pavilion, his position was only second to the pill pavilion. As Long Fei walked along the road, countless people would point at him from the back. That's him. It was this brat who overestimated himself and wanted to compete in alchemy with Elder Yi. He's simply retarded. Only he understands alchemy. Do you know how to refine his alchemy back then? If I use the iron pot's alchemy, I'll die from laughter. The entire iron pot will directly explode into the sky. Ha! I saw it too. This person is a complete fool. Yes, I've heard that too. Who has the brains to compete with the Elder Yi in alchemy? Who in the Xianyu sect didn't know that the majority of the pellets were refined by him, competing in alchemy with him? You still want to bet your life? This is not how you seek death. Whispering along the way. Mockery, hot discussion, disdain. It could be said, the entire Xianyu sect did not look favorably on Long Fei. Besides, it could be said that she hated him, because It was Long Fei who made them not receive any medicinal pellets for a month, and it was Long Fei who made nearly 1,000 disciples lose in the arena. In this life wager, with the great clan elder, many people hoped that Long Fei would lose. They all wanted to stomp on him. They all wanted to curry favor with the grand elder. Long Fei turned a deaf ear to all of this. He himself felt that it was a little inconceivable because he found that he was in an exceptionally good mood. It was as if he did not hear the heated discussion about these taunts. If this was his previous life on Earth, he would definitely rush there to fight for his life. Long Fei felt that he didn't seem to be himself anymore. This was also because his memories had yet to awaken. The dog bit you. You can't go up and bite the dog. As a human, why should I lower myself to the same level as a dog? Arriving at the Martial Pavilion, Long Fei walked forward and said, "Senior brother, I am here to borrow a martial skill." The two disciples looked at Long Fei. They naturally recognized Long Fei, and their eyes went cold as they spoke with disdain. "There is no martial skill that you want." Long Fei was startled. "I have yet to say what martial skill I want to borrow. How do you know that I do not have the martial skill that I want to borrow?" One of the disciples sneered and said, "I guess you are here to borrow the earth escape technique, or maybe drilling technique. Escape, drilling the hole. Was it used to drill a dog hole, and escape?" Many disciples outside the Martial Pavilion heard this and immediately burst into laughter. Long Fei's eyes became sinister and said indifferently, "Am I very easy to bully?" The disciple continued, "I do not know if you are good at bullying, but you make us very unhappy. If it wasn't for the fact that your elder, you would have stopped receiving pills, would it? Your father was almost able to break through to the 7th grade of the blood refinement realm because of the lack of medicinal pills. Kid, quickly scram. As long as I am on duty, you can forget about borrowing any martial skills from the Martial Pavilion." She hated him. There were many disciples like him. The pill pavilion had been closed for a month. Many disciples would find it difficult to improve without the aid of pills. They blamed it all on Long Fei. "Scram! Didn't you hear me? Don't think that you're that amazing. Compared to great elders' alchemy, who do you think you are? Get lost." The two disciples began to drive him away. Long Fei's eyes darkened, his fists clenched inside his sleeves. Suddenly, boom! Long Fei took a step forward, and both of his palms slapped down ruthlessly. "Pa, pa! F***CK. Lousy has given you face, right?" Long Fei roared. He could endure mocking and ridiculing, but that did not mean he would continue to endure. A dog cannot bite a dog, but he can hit a dog. After 2 slaps, the two disciples' bodies staggered, and fell to the ground. The 5 finger marks on their faces could be seen, and their cheeks were red and swollen. Looking at Long Fei's furious gaze, fear rose in their hearts. Long Fei took a step forward. The two of them immediately retreated and did not dare to look Long Fei in the eye anymore. People were like this. If you aren't ruthless, you won't be able to stand properly. Long Fei asked coldly, "Can I borrow the martial skills now?" But yes, you can borrow any martial skill below rank 3. The disciple was afraid that Long Fei would slap him again. The feeling was not good. Long Fei walked towards the Martial Pavilion. At this moment, a dozen Martial Pavilion disciples rushed out from not too far away, and one of them shouted, "You dare to commit violence in the Martial Pavilion, capture him." Chapter 2296, System Against Heaven. Chapter 2296, System Against Heaven. As soon as he finished, a dozen disciples quickly rushed forward. Long Fei looked angry. There's no end to this, is there? The anger in his heart was ignited. "Kid, you want to borrow the martial skills of the people who injured us on our territory. Humph, I think you're thinking too much. Why don't you see what kind of place this is? Is it a trash like you can come to? The head of the first disciple said in a fierce tone. Long Fei slightly turned around, coldly stared at the man, and said, "Try saying trash again." Cold. That head disciple was not afraid in the slightest, and shouted, "Just say it. Am I afraid of you? Just you." At this moment, an old man walked out from the martial pavilion. All the disciples outside the martial pavilion trembled and immediately sheathed their weapons and greeted respectfully, "Master!" Martial pavilion elder Wu Yi. Wu Yi glanced at Long Fei and said faintly, "Come in." The head disciple immediately said, "Master, he's been praising junior brother Lu and junior brother Lin. He dares to be so arrogant in our martial pavilion's territory. If we just let him go like this, then what face will our martial pavilion have left?" Wu Yi looked at him and said, "You earned your face by yourself. You want to stop him? All right. If you can stop him by yourself today, I can make it so that he will never be able to step foot into the martial pavilion again. Can you?" The eldest disciple was stunned. Although he was in the refinement realm, his cultivation was not yet comparable to any of the Xian U4 swords S. For swords had died in Long Fei's hands, and he was alone. He wasn't a match at all. Wu Yi slightly shouted, "Since you can't do it, then let us go. Don't embarrass me by saying that others are useless." "And you too." Wu Yi stared at the two gatekeepers and said, "Lending you a cultivation technique is each Xian Yu sect disciple's qualification. What right do you have to stop me? If such a thing happens again, I won't let you off lightly." Many disciples immediately lowered their heads, not daring to speak. Wu Yi looked at Long Fei and said, "Come in." Long Fei felt admiration in his heart, but at the same time, he felt a little embarrassed. After all, he had beaten someone up and said, "Clan elder, I just injured your disciple. It's really—" Wu Yi waved his hand and said, "It's fine. They just deserve to be taught a lesson. This is the martial pavilion. The first floor is a rank 1 martial art, the second floor is a rank 2 martial art, and the third floor has some rank 3 martial arts. You can borrow any martial art you like and choose any martial art you want." Wu Yi said, "However, flipping through any cultivation technique is useless now. It's still better to do as young sect master said. I will arrange for you to enter the Xian Yu mountain range and leave this place." He also did not want Long Fei to die on the pill stage. With the loss of the alchemy competition, Yi Chongfeng would definitely not let Long Fei off. They would definitely kill him. Long Fei said, "Thank you, elder, for your kind intentions. I still do not wish to leave Xianyu sect." "Sai, you brat, you are really stubborn. The so-called, a wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. When the limelight is over and you return, this Xian Yu sect will welcome you anytime." Wu Yi said sincerely and sincerely. He was a man of love. Long Fei was a rare talent. It was a pity to die. Moreover, this year, the God's sect gathering was getting closer and closer. If Long Fei could help the Xian Yu sect fight, he would definitely bring honor to the Xian Yu sect. Long Fei said, "Don't worry, I definitely won't die." After he finished speaking, he ran off to pick out a cultivation technique. Although Wu Yi thought that he would lose, but his heart was still warm. After all, this was a type of concern. Watching Long Fei leave, Wu Yi sighed. Not long later, Long Fei then found the alchemy technique idea and said, "Cultivate." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for comprehending alchemy technique. In that instant, a new skill appeared in the skill bar, alchemy technique. Skills, alchemy technique level, 00/500, cooldown, 10 seconds consumption. 10 true Chi-S description. The higher the grade of the pill, the greater the consumption. Following that, Long Fei left without stopping. Time was of the essence, and he didn't want to waste it. In these 3 days, he had to raise his alchemy technique S, and more importantly, to reach the 7th stage or above, he had to ruthlessly trample Yi Changfeng to death. What cultivation technique did he choose from the martial pavilion? After Long Fei left, the artifact pavilion elder, Yuan Shan, walked out. He was the same as Wu Yi. He didn't want to see Long Fei die on the pill platform, but they couldn't think of any way to help him. Long Fei had a stubborn temper. They had prepared an escape tunnel for Long Fei, but this brat was completely ignoring them. Wu Yi laughed bitterly and said, "Alchemy technique." "What?" Yuan Shan trembled slightly and smiled bitterly. He really doesn't know alchemy? Choosing the alchemy technique at this time? Could it be that he wants to raise his alchemy technique to the 6th rank in 3 days? Sigh. This child is too young and too arrogant. He should be able to do whatever he wants. But what about him? Why do you have to compete in alchemy with Yi Changfeng and even gamble your life? Yuan Shan felt a little heartache. Chapter 2297, Gifted Soul of Underworld. Chapter 2297, Gifted Soul of Underworld within the Mountain Forest. Long Fei looked at the alchemy technique in the Systems Techniques column and carefully studied it for a long time. True Qi, activate the fire. True Qi will be injected into the spirit grass, and the spirit liquid will be activated. Idea cores. The way I used my alchemy was completely different from last time. Heaven and earth are the furnaces, so of course it is fire. This kind of alchemy is 10,000 times better than this alchemy technique. Long Fei was very confused. He dared swear that he'd absolutely never refined a medicinal pill in his previous life. At most, he could only play the card-making game of QQ, although there was a pill furnace that was used to craft cards. However, such a high-level alchemy technique was imprinted in his mind. So what exactly was going on? Long Fei couldn't understand. I don't care. I will first upgrade the alchemy technique. But alchemy requires spirit grass. I don't even have a single spirit grass right now. Long Fei was a little speechless. He casually grabbed some grass. And the idea also moved. Activate. Activating alchemy technique. The true Qi moved. The wild grass in Long Fei's hands trembled a few times, and the wild grass in less than a second withered and turned yellow. Ding. Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Oh, weeds, come to alchemy in front of spirit grass. Long Fei was just a little careless. He didn't expect that weeds could come to alchemy in front of spirit grasses. Although it was a failure, there would still be an increase in the number of proficiencies. Immediately, Long Fei laughed. Ha ha! Who can stop me? I only asked one question. Who else could it be? If even weeds could cause alchemy, then it would be too easy to raise proficiency. The system was too awesome. Actually, the spirit grass, as well as the normal flowers, plants, and trees were all born from it. Although there was no dense spiritual qi, there was still a trace of it that could be acknowledged by the system. Ding. Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding. Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding. Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Once every 10 seconds, the system would sound out a notification of failure. But to Long Fei, the sound of failure was extremely pleasing to the ear. What he wanted was the proficiency. What he needed was his level. 2 hours later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to the 1st grade alchemy technique. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed. Other people wouldn't be able to break through a first-rank alchemy master in 2 days, 2 months, or even 2 years' time, whereas me, 2 hours. Ha ha ha. I'm really too awesome. I'm about to fall in love with myself. Continue. We have to find the netherworm coffin first. We can't let the Ming clan's inheritance land on outsiders, especially the Zhao family. They are the dogs of the gods' tribe. Elder Ming said worriedly, Zhen Wu continent, in the most marginal plane of universal large world. Their Ming clan had been hiding here for who knows how long, so the appearance of the necropolis now gave him a sliver of hope. Yi Yurong said, Elder Ming, but Long Fei said that the person buried here might not be the Lord Ming Long. He said that there might be a trap inside. Elder Ming immediately shouted, What does a wet behind the ears brat like him know? 4 high-level Ming clan beasts like the Dark Unicorn. The only ones who are qualified enough to guard their tombs are senior elders of the Ming clan or warrior. Furthermore, I have heard from you that the strength of the Dark Unicorn is still restricted by the seal, so it can be seen that the owner of the tomb must be extraordinary. Yurong did not say anything. Elder Ming was already starting to become a bit blind. He had lived for hundreds of years, and finally he saw a glimmer of hope. After a long time, Yurong asked, Elder Ming, is there any way to let Long Fei win? Elder Ming shook his head and said, It was he himself who wanted to gamble with his alchemy. This was his own choice. Yurong, you are a gifted soul of Underworld. You are the first person to become a gifted soul of Underworld after the fall of the Ming clan. Your mission is to rise up of the Ming clan and not to have the love of a girl. Even if this brat is a descendant of the Ming clan, you can't mess up your heart of the Underworld Phoenix for him. Understand? Gifted soul of Underworld, the #1 existence in the Ming clan. She was well aware of the mission Yurong had taken on. She was Ming clan's hope. Elder Ming said, That kid isn't compatible with you, so don't spend any more time and effort on him. Yurong nodded, but he still couldn't let go of this matter in his heart. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2298, 7th Rank Grandmaster. Chapter 2298, 7th Rank Grandmaster Elder Ming left. He had to prepare to enter the 2nd floor of Xian Yu's secret territory. As for the matter that Yurong entrusted to him, he did not take it to heart. No matter how important Long Fei was, he wasn't as important as the inheritance of the Netherworm. With the inheritance of the Netherworm, there is hope for the rise of the Ming clan. Yurong stood on top of the cliff, quietly looked into the distance. Her eyes were a little dazed while her mind was filled with many thoughts, so many that even she herself did not know what she was thinking about. After a long time, Yurong clenched his fists, as though he had made a decision. Then he turned around and left. 2 hours later, Pill Pavilion, Alchemy Room. Grand Elder, the young sect master is here. The voice of a disciple came from outside the room. Yi Changfeng was preparing his alchemy. Even though it was just a small Long Fei, he did not put it in his eyes. However, he would not give Long Fei even the slightest of hope. He would definitely crush Long Fei to death on the pill stage with a completely crushed posture. He wanted to take revenge. The corner of Yi Changfeng's mouth hooked up as he revealed a cold smile. Yurong? A alchemy boy said, Master, what is young sect master doing here at this time? Another alchemist said with a smile, What else can I do? I must be begging you, master. Yi Changfeng was secretly pleased with himself. At this time, Yurong only appeared for one thing, and that was to beg him to spare Long Fei. And then, Yi Changfeng said indifferently, I'm at alchemy. I won't see guests, so I can't be disturbed. Let her wait outside. If anything happens, wait for me to finish refining the pill first. Yes, sir. The disciple's expression became slightly startled, and then quickly withdrew far away from the alchemy. Ask the young sect master to wait. It should be known that although Iyorong was the young sect master, she was actually the sect master of the Xianyu sect. His status was supreme. Even if it was the great clan elder, Yi Changfeng couldn't be disrespectful to her. Now she had to wait outside. Yi Changfeng sneered and muttered, Iyorong, do you also have a time to beg me? Ha ha ha. Wait for me. The two alchemists also started laughing. Let her wait a little longer. What young sect master? If she doesn't have a master, then what is she? That's right. Without the support of Master's medicinal pellets, she could control the Xianyu sect. She simply doesn't have the qualifications. Yi Changfeng's face was filled with pride. He had already guessed the purpose of Yi Yorong's visit, and his heart was very pleased as he said, Prepare your alchemy. Today is a good day. I want to break through to the 7th stage. A light flashed in the eyes of the two alchemists. They immediately replied, Understood. Yi Yorong's appearance made Yi Changfeng feel very good. He felt great, and maybe he could use this opportunity to break through. Yi Yorong stood quietly outside the alchemy courtyard. She was ready when she came here. For Long Fei, she was willing to give up everything for the sake of that obsession in her heart. An hour passed. Yi Yorong was still waiting. 2 hours passed. She was still waiting. Until nightfall, Yi Yorong was still waiting outside the courtyard. What did you say? Elder, he made you Rong wait more than 5 hours? Yu Wanshan's eyes shook and shouted, How dare you? Isn't this Yi Changfeng too arrogant? Wu Yi also said angrily, Elder Yi is too much. After all, she is the young sect master. Is he embarrassing Yurong by doing this? Who would still respect her in the future? Yu Wanshan said heavily, No, I have to go and call Yurong back. Wu Yi caught it and said, Senior brother Yu, could it be that you can't see it? Yi Changfeng was purposely making things difficult for Yurong, and Yurong had to wait for that brat long. Yu Wanshan said, But even so, you can't do this, right? What was her identity? What is the prestige of the sect leader in the future? Could it be that Yi Changfeng is going to climb up to the sect master's level? Very angry. 5 hours. It was dark now, but Yi Changfeng did not show any signs of coming out. Moreover, now that the entire sect knew about this matter, everyone was discussing it. It wasn't to say that Yi Changfeng was wrong, but that Yurong was willing to accept such humiliation for Long Fei. Was this the work of a sect master? Not to mention, Long Fei had made a bet in front of everyone, and he had brought all of this upon himself. Now that Yurong had come to plead with him, what was this worth? To favor a disciple? What about the great elder? For a time, all sorts of rumors arose. I think the young sect master has his eyes on that kid. Maybe that brat is an illegitimate child of the master. As the big sister, the young sect master wants to protect his little brother. What's so good about that kid? I think it's a pile of dog shit. That kid stayed on the reflection cliff's face for a month. I heard that only the young sect master can see him. Maybe the two of them have already... Don't spout nonsense. The young sect master is the crown prince's consort. Does she want to give the crown prince green hair? Ha ha ha. All sorts of rumors and mocking laughter rang out. Some of the elders also joined in. If I were the grand elder, I would surely not see the young sect master. Young sect master, this is too much. That's right. Last month, she didn't ask for the pill house to stop working, but now she asked for a disciple. She said she was concerned about a disciple, so that's why she asked for that. Bullshit. Outside the alchemy courtyard, Yorong's maid said anxiously, Young sect master, let's go. Chapter 2299. Awards. Chapter 2299. Awards. Ha 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 ha. Excited laughter sounded out. Yi Changfeng was in high spirits. His face was flushed with happiness, and his eyes revealed an expression of disdain towards everything. We've finally made it. 7th rank. Now, my alchemy technique has reached the 7th stage. Ha ha ha. An indescribable excitement. The two alchemists immediately kneeled on the ground and said, "Congratulations, Master. Master Shi, Ascendant Level 7 Alchemy Master. Good, good, good. The two of you will be rewarded." Yi Changfeng laughed. There were not many 7th grade alchemy masters, even in the entirety of Zhaogua. Grade 6 to 7 was a hurdle. Now that he had broken through, his status was completely different. Now, even if he did not request for it, the Zhao family would probably look for him. A 7th rank alchemy master was an extremely rare sight. Even the number 1 sect in Zhaogua's territory only had 2 7th rank alchemy masters. Moreover, they were all old men who were at the age of 100 with very little alchemy. Furthermore, he was only around 60 years old. If he was given sufficient resources, he might be able to reach the 8th or even 9th grade alchemy master in time. An existence that looked down on the world. "Master, the young sect master is still outside," Dan Tong said lightly. Yi Changfeng laughed and said, "Ha ha ha. I really have to thank her for breaking through to the 7th rank today. If not for the fact that Yi Yorong's appearance had changed his mental state, he might not have been able to break through. He had already been stuck at the 6th stage for 10 years. He had thought that in this lifetime he would never be able to break through again, which was why he had sought the position of imperial advisor and wanted to use the emperor's qi of the Zhao family to break through. He didn't expect to break through today. Another alchemist said, "Let her wait a little longer." In the past, looking at her attitude, she did not put master in her eyes at all. Now, even she, Yi Yorong, a 7th stage alchemy master, has to kneel down and curry favor with her. Yi Changfeng laughed. "After waiting for so long, it's enough. Let's go and see why this young and promising young sect master is here. Let's go." And then Yi Changfeng walked out of the pill room in large strides. If he did not make a breakthrough, he would make Yi Yorong continue to wait. However, now that he had broken through to the 7th stage, he wished that he could appear in front of Yi Yorong and be complacent. The door of the alchemy courtyard opened. Yi Yorong turned around and looked at Yi Changfeng, who had walked out. He immediately said, "Congratulations, Elder Yi, for breaking through the 7th stage and becoming an alchemy grandmaster. A 6th stage alchemist. However, a 7th grade alchemy grandmaster. Two completely different concepts." Yi Changfeng's face could not hide his glee as he said, "Young sect master, why have you come? You couldn't have known that I broke through the 7th level and came here in advance to congratulate me, right?" There was a strange tone in his words. There was a mocking, disdainful look in his eyes. Even the maid beside Yi Yorong could see that. They tugged on Yi Yorong's arm and said softly, "Young sect master, we should still go." Yi Yorong did not pay attention to him. He looked at Yi Changfeng, who had yet to come down from the stairs, and said, "Elder Yi is extremely talented. Breaking through the 7th rank is only a matter of time. The reason I'm here is because of the alchemy competition. Even a 6th stage long Fei was not a match for him." Now, Yi Changfeng had even broken through the 7th rank and become an alchemy grandmaster. Long Fei was even more not a match for him. He was definitely going to lose. Yi Changfeng intentionally stood on the stairs. He was now a master in alchemy. Forget about Yi Yorong. Even her father, Yi Lucian, had to be respectful to him. Moreover, this was his stance. Higher than others. Yi Changfeng said, "It's an alchemy competition. It's a life wager due to alchemy. There's nothing much to discuss about this." Yi Yorong said, "Great clan elder, He is only a teenager. How would he know what alchemy is? Without waiting for Yi Yurong to finish speaking, Yi Changfeng immediately interrupted. Angry words! Humph! You want to vent your anger after killing the 4 disciples of the elite Hall S. You're angry that you broke my arm? And you even swore to take my life? Are you angry about this? Yi Yurong's brows tightened and said, regarding these, I will punish him severely. I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. Yi Changfeng laughed. My most satisfied answer is that I want him dead. Yi Yurong raised his brows and said, Great Elder, you have also seen the potential of his martial arts training. From the time it takes to refine his body to the current level of the 8th grade of the blood refinement realm. Give him a little more time. At that time, when he attends participating in the Gods sect gathering, he will definitely bring honor to the Xianyu sect. Yi Changfeng said, Right now, I am considering the general situation of the Xianyu sect. If we remove this kind of disaster earlier, the Xianyu sect will be better off. Look at how many things have happened since he entered the Xianyu sect. This child must be eliminated. His words were firm. He hated Long Fei to the bones. Yi Yurong let out a light breath and said, Great Elder, if he has offended you, I am willing to bring him to apologize on your behalf. As soon as he finished, Yi Changfeng was shocked. The faces of the surrounding disciples slightly shook. The young sect master is apologizing? This was no ordinary matter. Maid immediately pulled Yi Yurong back and said, Young sect master, you can't. Yi Changfeng was extremely pleased with himself as he said, Apologize. Yi Yurong bowed and said, Great clan elder, I am sorry. Ha ha ha. Yi Changfeng immediately laughed out loud. He was extremely pleased as he watched Yi Yurong bow to him. It felt so good. Even in his dreams, he would dream of this moment. However, Yi Changfeng's laughter suddenly stopped, and he shouted, You're going to apologize, and that's it? Will I forgive you if you apologize? Humph! It's not that simple. Yi Changfeng felt great in his heart, but he must take Long Fei's life. He absolutely could not allow to have another chance to threaten him. His beloved Earth-ranked divine weapon, the Fang Tiandao seal, was destroyed. He had nearly died several times. He would definitely not keep such a hidden danger. Just as Yi Changfeng was about to speak, Yi Yurong's right hand suddenly sank. The Xianyu underworld wheel was released. Yi Changfeng's face shook as he asked, What are you trying to do? The surrounding disciples also revealed fear. Xianyu underworld wheel S were extremely ferocious. Heaven-ranked divine weapons were not a joke. The entire Pill Pavilion combined probably wouldn't be a match for him. At this time, Yi Yurong took off the Xianyu underworld wheel in his hand and said, Since he destroyed your Fang Tiandao seal, I will use the Xianyu underworld wheel to apologize to you. Yi Changfeng's eyes darkened. He stared straight at the Xianyu underworld wheel in Yi Yurong's hand, his eyes gleaming with greed. Xianyu underworld wheel, the most precious treasure of the sect. This was personally rewarded to her by Yi Yurong for breaking through the golden protector level at the age of 18. It could be said, the Xianyu underworld wheel was Yi Yurong's most beloved object. At the same time, it also had another explanation, which was the identity of the sect master. Chapter 2300, Rabbit Poop Pills. Chapter 2300, Rabbit Poop Pills, Xianyu Underworld Wheel. Owners can say that identity is extremely important. Moreover, who wouldn't want a heaven-ranked divine weapon? Even if Yi Changfeng was a pill cultivator, his drooling over Xianyu Underworld Wheel S was not something that could be done in a day or two. It was tens of thousands of times better than the Fang Tiandao seal. Yi Changfeng was stunned. He never thought that Yi Yurong would actually be willing to give up his Xianyu underworld wheel for Long Fei's sake. This was far beyond his expectations. The surrounding disciples were all shocked as well. Maid said, "Young sect master, you can't. Your father rewarded you, and he is the first treasure of Xian Yu sect." Without waiting for Maid to finish, Yurong looked at Yi Changfeng and said, "Great elder, as long as you are willing to let Long Fei go, this Xianyu underworld wheel will be yours." His words were firm. Yi Changfeng couldn't control his hands beneath his sleeves and wished that he could catch them right away. The look in his eyes was one of incomparable desire. However, Yi Changfeng laughed coldly and said, "You roam, you're underestimating my Yi Changfeng." There was ambition in his eyes. He was very ambitious. He wanted the Xianyu underworld wheel to be, at the same time, the Xianyu sect. He also wanted to become a state grandmaster and even an outer disciple of the gods' tribe. Moreover, the fact that Yurong took out the Xianyu underworld wheel also showed how much weight he held in her heart. Yurong asked, "Great clan elder, what else do you want?" Yi Changfeng said indifferently, "Yurong, I once said that a woman isn't suitable to be sect master because a woman is too intimate with her children." Maid shouted, "Great elder, don't go overboard." The meaning was too simple. Other than Xianyu underworld wheel S, he also wanted the position of sect master. His meaning was to make Yurong abdicate. Yi Changfeng coldly glanced at the maid and laughed. "Too much. Who do you think you are? Do you think you are qualified to talk to me? I'm a 7th rank alchemy master now, let alone a small Xianyu sect. Even if it's the Zhao family or even the sect of Infinitas, I still have more things than here. Do you understand?" Maid wanted to speak up, but was stopped by Yurong. Yurong asked, "Do you really want me to abdicate?" Yi Changfeng said, "You should abdicate and be at ease as your princess consort. I will bring Xian Yu sect to its peak." "Yurong, you can think about it, and then talk to me. Remember, you only have 2 days. Once I get on the pill stage, you won't have much time." Yi Changfeng laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. He was extremely pleased with himself. Yurong's face darkened. His expression was ugly. No one would have thought that he used some weeds and wildflowers to come to the alchemy. The system was too overpowered. Is a 6-stage alchemy really that awesome? Acting cool in front of me? Let's see how you will continue acting cool then. Long Fei said fiercely in his heart. As long as he had this system, he was fearless. "Who?" Long Fei exhaled and said, "Continue." At this moment, Yurong walked out from the darkness. Long Fei looked at Yurong and jokingly asked, "Wifey, why are you here?" Yurong's face was ashen cold. There was a murderous look in his eyes. Since she was young, only Yurong dared to bully others. No one had ever dared to bully her. Today, Yi Changfeng had made her very unhappy. But she had to hold it in. Seeing that Yurong's expression was not right, Long Fei could not help but say, "Old wife, who bullied you? Tell me, I'll take revenge for you." Yurong walked over to Long Fei's side and coldly asked, "What are you doing?" Long Fei scratched his head and laughed. In alchemy, Yurong looked at the pile of withered yellow grass and wildflowers surrounding Long Fei. She really couldn't understand what Long Fei was doing. Alchemy? Grass? Wildflower alchemy? What kind of pill is this? Yurong said, "Have you finished refining it?" Long Fei mysteriously smiled as he took out a handful from his bosom and placed it in front of Yurong and said, "That's it." Although he had always failed, there were times where he had succeeded, but the chances of that was low. In Long Fei's hand was the pellet he had refined today. Only, it looked a little like rabbit shit with the smell of grass fermenting. Yurong asked, "What pill is this?" Long Fei said, "This pill is amazing. Don't underestimate this pill. Its effects are extraordinary. just like this pill. Long Fei pointed to a black pellet and said, its effect is to stop pain. It can stop any kind of pain. It can even break limbs. Formidable, right? The work of this young master must be powerful. Ha ha. Long Fei did not see the loneliness in Yi Yorong's eyes, nor did he see the disappointment. This pill is for you. Long Fei didn't care about whether Yi Yorong agreed or not, and directly pushed the pill into her hands and asked, "What are you doing here?" Yi Yorong laughed bitterly and said, "I just came to see you." Finished. She turned and walked back into the darkness, leaving with disappointment. Long Fei did not take it seriously and said, "Continue with your alchemy. The 6th rank is nothing. I want to become a 7th, 8th, 9th rank pill refiner." Chapter 2301, Inviting Master to Come Out. Chapter 2301, Inviting Master to Come Out. I thought he was crazy. Young sect master, for such a man. Is the disciple worth it? Maid walked behind Yi Yorong. She did not understand Yi Yorong. What was there to love about a silly man like Long Fei? His cultivation was very strong. Could he compare to Zhao Haoyan, who was like the real Long Tianzi? Strong talent? Could he be a Tongshin that was comparable to a sect of Infinitas's divine origin blood vein? Appearance? He looked like a fool and was completely unremarkable in the crowd. If such a man had no looks, if he had no strength, why would he like him? Then again, who is Yi Yorong? The daughter of heaven, the #1 beauty on Zhaoguo's body. Which part of Long Fei was worthy of her? There was no comparison at all. She was also a woman, if she had to choose. Even if she picked the wrong one, she wouldn't choose someone like Long Fei. Yi Yorong did not say anything and just walked forward. In her hand, she was still holding the rabbit poop pill that Long Fei had given her and gently massaging it between her fingers. She did not lose it. Of course, she did not treat it as a pill, but it was because of what Long Fei had given her, and she did not want to throw it away. Young sect master, just ignore him. If you do it again, you'll throw yourself in. Let's just consider it as Xianyu sect. Maid followed closely behind him to persuade him. Yi Yorong still did not reply and continued to walk forward. Who? I'm going to continue. Long Fei exhaled. A faint smile hung on his lips as he muttered to himself. She's injured. Consuming that medicinal pellet should be able to stop the pain. I'll think of a way to treat her later. Ha ha. Throughout the entire day, Long Fei constantly failed and only made use of a few times that he tried to use alchemy that carried knowledge of alchemy. What he did not expect was the success rate was actually 100%. Moreover, the attributes of the pills that were refined were extremely abnormal. After all, this was a medicinal pill made from wild grass and flowers, and it actually had attributes, and it was very abnormal. Take the pill Long Fei gave Yi Yorong, for example. That pill had stopped all the pain from her body as though it was anesthetic, and she could not feel any pain at all. For the world of Zhen Wu continent, there was no such pill. Although the grade of the pill was not high, its attributes were extremely powerful. However, Long Fei's method of using the heaven and earth as a stove and naturally as a fire was simply too exhausting, and it was extremely uncomfortable for his mental energy to be emptied out. Every time he finished refining, he would have to rest for a while before he could recover. That kind of alchemy technique was too powerful. Long Fei's body was still unable to fully adapt to it. Continue. Ding. Ha ha ha. Yi Changfeng did not reject any of them. The Pill Pavilion peak was brightly lit and abuzz with activity. Looking at the noisy Pill Pavilion, Yu Wanshan laughed bitterly and said, "Did you see that out of over 100 elders in Xianyu sect, At least 90 of them went to the pill pavilion. Wu Yi said, "They are acting on the surface." Sigh. "This is the human heart." Yuan Shan sighed and said, "Young sect master treats them so well, but at this critical juncture, he treats them like this. It really makes one's heart cold." Wu Yi said, "It was Yi Changfeng who pushed the matter of young sect master bowing and apologizing to him to the best of his abilities, causing public opinion to spread, and made young sect master the target of public criticism." Yuan Shan was flustered. "Why do you think that brat has to compete with him in alchemy? Isn't this courting death? I really don't understand." Along clearly knows that Yi Changfeng is the great elder of the Pill Pavilion, the strongest alchemy master of the Xianyu sect, and yet she wants to compete with him in alchemy? Isn't it obvious that he's tired of living? Wu Yi said, "Everyone has been young and vigorous. This is a very normal thing." Yuan Shan said, "But isn't this a bit too much? You want to throw your life away?" Wu Yi said, "This isn't much. I'm worried that not only will Along throw his life away, he will also let young sect master put everything into it." Yuan Shan's eyes darkened as he said, "Tell me, should we ask the sect master to come out of seclusion? The Grand Master has come out of seclusion." Wu Yi's expression tensed up. Yuan Shan slightly said, "Yi Changfeng is no longer afraid of the young sect master, but if he is, no matter how much more courage he has, Yi Changfeng, will still be extremely afraid." Who wouldn't be afraid of the super powerhouse of the Zhenwu realm? The two of them looked at each other, their eyes flashing. Chapter 23, O2, this daddy is giving it his all. Chapter 23, O2, this daddy is giving it his all at daybreak. Ding. Refining failed, proficiency is increased by 1. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to level 4. Another level up. It feels so good. Long Fei became excited. It was fortunate that it had the core of the green-furred, gold-bodied zombie, allowing him to use the true qi limitlessly, so he did not have to worry about the consumption of the true qi. Continue. Long Fei once again immersed himself into cultivation. Period. A few elders secretly observed Long Fei, and after watching him for less than half a minute, they immediately turned around and left. In their opinion, either Long Fei had gone mad, or he was just an idiot. Compete with the great clan elder in alchemy? It was destined to be a hopeless situation. This made many of the elders choose to stand by the side. He chose Yi Changfeng. Furthermore, the elders who went to the pill pavilion last night had all received Yi Changfeng's pills. Standing together with Long Fei, that would be courting death. For the rest of the day, probably only Yuan Shan and Wu Yi, the two clan elders, did not go to the pill house. Long Fei did not know about what happened in Xianyu sect, nor did he know that Yurong had bowed and apologized to Yi Changfeng for him. Raise the level of the alchemy technique. The day passed. In the evening, ding, congratulations to player Long Fei for training alchemy technique to level up. Current level, 5. 5th grade alchemy technique. Long Fei said excitedly, "I remember Yi Changfeng is a 6th ranked alchemy master, right? I'll level up a few more times. Continue." It didn't matter if he did one thing, but if he kept repeating the same thing, then it would be too boring. Long Fei had been repeating it again and again for a whole 2 days. He didn't even know how many times he had repeated it. It was so boring that it made people go crazy. However, as long as they could crush Yi Changfeng, as long as they could avenge Xiao Dai, Thin Monkey, the big guy, Qingyo, and the black scale carving, Long Fei would be able to hold on no matter how boring it was. He was such a person. He could bear all the pain and suffering that came with this goal. Bullying my people, If you dare touch my brother and bully my sister, if I can't kill you, then I won't be called Long Fei. Continue. Yi Yurong's courtyard. Yi Yurong stood in the pavilion and watched the fish swimming happily in the pond. Her heart was incomparably envious, without any worries or pressure, and just swimming happily like this was just too comfortable. Her brain was about to explode. There were a lot of things bothering him. The black scale carving had consumed quite a few high-class healing pills, but none of them were effective and could only keep her alive. There was no sign of recovery at all. Furthermore, she could not find a way either. The black scale carving's injuries were too severe, and her internal organs were all injured. Unless there was a 6th or 7th grade spirit herb, it was impossible to recover. This kind of high-level medicine could only help the black scale carving recover from its injuries, and its cultivation would never be able to break through again. Then again, the positions of the numerous elders of the Xian Yu sect caused her heart to slightly tremble. It wasn't a cold heart. It was because of Yi Changfeng's methods. This competition was destined to be a crushing defeat for her. It seemed like he was sparring with Long Fei and at the same time gambling with her. As long as Long Fei lost, she would also be dragged into the water, and the elders would definitely work together to make her abdicate. What should I do? Yi Yurong couldn't think of a way. Right now, she was definitely going to lose. The only way to turn the match into a victory was for Long Fei to win. But how could Long Fei win? What could he use to win? He didn't even have the slightest chance of winning. No matter what, I will guarantee that you won't die. Yi Yurong exhaled. Her eyes turned sinister as the true qi in her body surged. Suddenly, her face changed. His right hand touched his abdomen, a strong stab of pain. There was a moment of silence. Yi Yurong released his hand and glanced at his palm. There was some black blood on it. Every time the true qi surged into the wound on her abdomen, it would tear, and the poison from the limitless burning sword would still remain in her body. She had been struggling to persevere for the past few days. She didn't know how much longer she could hold on. Another day passed. There was only one night left until the life wager competition at alchemy. Ding! Alchemy failed. Proficiency +1. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training alchemy technique to level up. Current level 6. Huff! Long Fei let out a heavy breath. Fuck! I finally broke through. I almost lost control of my cultivation. This is 2F** King unbearable. 6th grade. Now, Long Fei had become a 6th-stage alchemist. Looking at the 6th stage of alchemy technique, Long Fei laughed softly and said, Yi Changfeng, I am now a 6th-stage alchemy master as well. Let's make a trip home first. Just give these few pills to them. Long Fei was worried about Xiao Dai and the others' injuries, worried that he would mess around. And then he jogged all the way back to the desolate hillside. He glanced at the green ox in the stall. He was still lying there and hadn't gotten up for the past few days. Long Fei hurriedly put down the big bundle of grass and muttered, It seems that Uncle Gue has not come back yet. Old cow, get up and eat. There is a pill inside the grass. Eat it yourself. I will go take a look at Xiao Dai and the others. Long Fei put down the grass and immediately ran into the house. Seeing Long Fei enter, Xiao Dai sat up with difficulty and asked, Along, where have you been these past 2 days? I asked Sister Yi, but she didn't tell me. Long Fei was startled and said, Yurong came over? At least she has some conscience and knows how to take care of you. Xiao Dai continued. Sister Yi's expression doesn't seem good, as though his mind is very heavy. Did something big happen? Thin Monkey said, I am definitely worried about the competition between Boss and Yi Changfeng's alchemy. The big-sized man said, "Boss, I heard from young sect master that I Chang Feng broke through the day before yesterday. He is already a 7 rating alchemist." Huh. F asterisk CK. Isn't that a bit too fast? Long Fei's face froze for a moment and looked a little unprepared. He thought to himself, no wonder Iorong had an ugly expression back then. No way. I want to break through again. And then Long Fei put down the 3 pills and said, 1 per person. With that, Long Fei walked out with big strides. Xiao Dai was anxious. Along, where are you going? Long Fei replied, I'm going to do something big. I don't believe it. Rank 7 Grandmaster. I will definitely be taller than you. Long Fei's heart was filled with anger. He was extremely dissatisfied and quickly rushed down the desolate hill. He came to the valley. Only one night, if I want to reach level 7. That won't be enough. And rank 7 is not enough. I need to reach level 8. If I don't crush I Chang Feng, I will not be in a good mood. Long Fei thought, let's try out the alchemy of my hands. This way my speed will double. Even if his speed had doubled, it would still not be enough. Upgrading from level 7 to level 8 required even more proficiency. It was simply impossible. Unless... Long Fei clenched his teeth and said, I'm going all out. Men should be more cruel to themselves.